Okay, this is a servicing the 8000 B&O Bang & Olufsen 8000 turntable. Let's take a look at some of the first things you're going to need. My first problem that I have is the Tach O Disk, which is this piece under here, underneath this platter, has lost all of its printed on plastic to regulate the speed. There's a groove in it, and it just wiped itself off. So let's talk about it. Okay, here it is. The first thing that you're going to do is you want to open the hood up here, and you want to loosen this screw on this unit, right? And at the same time, you're going to have to roll your finger across this to get the carriage to come all the way over and out of that parked position so that you can get it out of there. So basically, you roll your finger here, the carriage will start to move over, and then you'll be able to unscrew this screw and keep pulling up on it, and then eventually it just pops up. Okay, now that it's off, right, you can just pull it out very gently, I might add. Okay, and you take it out. Okay, now the carriage is free, and you're able to manipulate it and work with it and so on and so on. Okay, now you have to park the carriage all the way back, so you're going to be pushing the roller here, the spindle that drives the carriage. You're going to push it away from you towards the back, and that will push the carriage all the way into the corner. Now, with a small screwdriver underneath here, right, have the turntable facing you from the left side. And then I've already taken it off because I'm trying to expedite my explanation. There's a screw here, and there's a screw here. Unscrew those two, put them in a safe place, put the hood down, and then put a piece of tape. Well, actually, you can do it from underneath the wood plinth here. And now, this is difficult for me. I'm going to try to do it with my hands. One hand holding it. So now the whole entire top of the chassis is free. Don't just yank up on it because you're going to break your arms off here. So you kind of push down on it as you go, right? And you guide it, and then the arm will slap in. I put a styrofoam scouring pad here because it's giving me a little resistance, but it's not letting my entire control top just rest on itself. I want a little bit of, resistance, and I don't want to put it against a wall or something. Somebody said that. This works fine. It does lock. It won't just tip over, but you don't want it to be resting on itself as such. So there's the original aluminum plate here would hold it up also, but in many cases the foam that supports it is just gone. It just disintegrates into nothing, and that is it. It's garbage. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is I'm going to replace this Tach O Disk. Now, what is a Tach O Disk? The Tach O Disk is a thing that regulates the speed of the turntable, and when it's not it's not complete. Right, there's grooves on it. There's a pattern that looks. This is a new one. This is made of aluminum. Why wouldn't they have made it in aluminum in the first place? If you're spending that much money on a turntable. Anyway, I'm not going to get myself in a lather. So, I'm sorry, my camera's really dirty. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this onto here, but you can see it's locked. It's locked by this, so you can't get it on. Oh, okay. So here's what you're going to do. Cut a piece of tape, line it up with the bar here, right? And you're going to loosen this screw, okay? Take it all the way off. I'll take it all the way. Just have to undo it from the carriage here at the bottom. What also was done is I put a drop of glue inside of this. These are the leaf springs. I forgot to mention, you have to get rid of the leaf springs. You have to take them off. So you have to push them down and then pull these up with a needle nose pliers to get them out so that so you can do this entire operation. So there's one there, and there's one there, and there's one there. Right? I put a drop of Elmer's glue in there so that they will stay upright. Otherwise, it's going to be a real pain in the neck to get them to line up again when I close the hood. You can see the leaf spring here. So what I did was I pushed down on it while the hood was closed. I pushed down and I pulled up that little hook that you can see there, the little upside down J, and I just pulled it up with a needle nose pliers, and then I moved it out of the way, and that allows me to lift this. Otherwise, you can't lift this hood unless the platter is out of its lock position and you remove those little hooks. That's for the suspension, right? So if you are walking on a wood floor, it doesn't skip the records. So there's three of them. There's one here, there's one there, and there's one there. Okay, there you go. Now, so I loosened this all the way up, right? You can see I can't get this out because it's... So this is what this does. Once I loosened that... Oh, look at that! Brilliant. Now, your platter bearing here is now out. The problem that you have... You can see the difference, right? This had a pattern on it that looked just like that pattern, but somehow it just fell off. It was printed on, garbage. Anyway, here's the next thing that was kind of a little pain in the neck to do, but I've already done it. So I went around and I used a tiny little drill shot. I bent every one of them up just a little bit, right, all the way around, and jam them, but just give it a little bend, right? And now it pops off. You're going to go back later and you're going to push them all down again so that it grabs back on when we change it. So basically, you're going to go ahead and you're going to flatten every one of these back out that you bent up so that when you push it back on, right, it's going to... I'm trying to do it with one hand. I'm very dexterous, apparently. And I'm doing it while I'm looking at the camera, so there's a delay. Boy, am I talented. Anyway, back to it. That's what it looks like. Now, there was a printed pattern all the way around on it, but why would you print it? I mean, I bought this, I think, for $30 or $40 from Beo Parts. BEO-Parts. If you need that, buy it from them. So, back to it. I have gone ahead and I am now bending all of those little pieces back on. This is how you correct a speed fluctuation in a Beogram 8000, or you're getting where the 33 and the 45 LED that's on the front of the keypad there is just blinking oddly. It's going, it's like 33. It looks Ghost in the Machine type of a thing, right? It's just a red LED lettering that's just it's just changing every second. It's blinking. That's because your Tach O Disk that you had is defective. Okay. And now this, I'm just trying to do this so I don't break the tape and start over. I just want to do it all in one take. Some people are so meticulous, they want their video to look, just perfect. That's not me. I'm trying to show you quickly what I'm doing in one shot, and something that's not going to be a 30-minute video. And basically, that's kind of where this is at. So I've flattened them all out. They look pretty good. I'm ready to go. Okay? So now what we're going to do is I'm doing this in a very odd fashion, I have to say. Just probably be using a needle nose pliers. Probably be best. Anyway, let's get back to it. So now we're going to take the Tach O Disk out of the baggie. Okay. Look at that, all with one hand. Talented fellow I am. Because it is just in perfect shape, it just fits right on there. You see? And then we're going to stuff this back onto it after I strip everything off of it. Unfortunately, I stopped my recording. It was taking me too long to try to accomplish what I was trying to accomplish. But because I'm trying to learn it as I'm going. I haven't seen a video to repair these, so I figured I would create one. In reality, I've probably consumed about 2 hours of my time figuring out through very slow motions, because I move slowly because I just know the cost of breaking something on one of these turntables can be a month-long disaster to try to get the parts either manufactured and or delivered from faraway places. Now, I've put the Tach O Disk on the new aluminum one, which it should have been from the beginning. Okay, I'm over it. Now, I went ahead, I straightened out all those clips. I didn't need to straighten them all the way out. That was a mistake. It made it much harder to get on than it should have been. So just bend them back a little bit. Not crazy, just a little bit. Here's the other trick. Once you put the retaining disc back on, you're not going to be able to just press it on from the inside here. Start from the outside and continue to apply pressure going around and around, and then look, because you will see if there's any problems there, and it will be here. You'll see there will be a gap around the outside perimeter here between the platter bearing, the new Tach O Disk, and the retaining ring here, right? So that's pretty good. While you're at it, I don't happen to have a Q-tip handy on me, but I would recommend going into this bearing here, all right? And I would basically try to clean that out. I will do it after this video, but I'm not going to do it now. I'll just quickly pretend. Okay, so pretend that's a nice white fluffy Q-tip. And then I'm just cleaning out the inside of that bearing hole. Okay, now use a good synthetic oil or lithium grease. I like a synthetic oil. It just lasts forever. I left it on my balcony on a mirror for 6 months, just about 5 or 6, a puddle of it. And I left it, this is on my porch, in the sun, in the rain, not direct rain, but I mean, underneath my balcony, and it was sitting on my porch down over here, and it never dried up. It got scattered and, and so on, but it was still there. So anyway, I put a little bit of platter, I didn't even put any oil in it. Oh, that's kind of silly. I've talked about it more than I'm doing it. Okay, so now you put a little platter bearing oil in there. Okay, not much. Alrighty, that's about $15 on eBay. I thought it was excellent. Listen, I think it's excellent. It's viscous enough to flow around, but it's not thin enough to be thrown off of this screw. So when this screw spins, it's fast. So if it's very thin liquid, then it will it'll literally eject it off of the screw because it's too thin. That's why you use something thicker like a lithium grease, like I was mentioning, because it can't throw it off of there as it spins. I mean, if we were going 10,000 RPMs, yeah, it'd probably throw it off, but it's not. But it is going fast enough to throw like a 3-in-1 oil off. And 3-in-1 is not it. So anyway, there you go. Now we're going to attach it back, right? The Tach O Disk is in place. I return the locking carriage back. Originally, I put a piece of tape there so I knew where the hole is, where it ends up. I don't have to be guessing. I was going to try to take that screw off just to move this over, right? It's not a screw. It's a cotter pin, a lock washer. You can't get it off. It doesn't work that way. So while I was at it, I went ahead and I cleaned everything out inside of here. I found a bunch of extra little screws, which I'm going to eventually find out where they go. I don't know where. It might be somewhere on this board, but I'm not done as of yet. So while you're at it, get in there, vacuum it out, clean it off with a wet sponge, and then go ahead Tach O Disk. Now, let me just explain something. This I bought on eBay for 15 bucks. This is one of the best purchases I've made. It has a vacuum, right, with a brush end, so if you need to brush, it also, you just pull it straight out, and that gives you the brush. Or if you want it to be a direct vacuum to get really tight on something, then you can do that. It's got 3 speeds. It's rechargeable. YYJOP. Yajop. Sounds like an insult. And from here, I've added this little blue cone on it, but it's also a blower to blow things out, right? So I can get underneath. Got a good amount of power to it. It's got 3 speeds. And it works better than it works as good as a can of compressed air. And it's not bad for the environment because you're always recharging it. I've had it for about, a year. Works like a champ. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I use it on many things, not just turntables. So anyway, there is that. The Tach O Disk replacement. Now everything is done in reverse. Now isn't it great that you had glued these little units back in place? Right? Because now when you close it, they just stand up. Because otherwise they just tip over. And then you can never line them up to the damn holes. Anyway, so that's it. Let's make sure it's level and it's rolling. It's right in the middle of the electronic speed sensor. So that was a great move. So now we go ahead. Everything looks pretty good to me, right? And we go ahead and we tighten this back down. No, that's not working. I think it's too big, the hole for the damn thing. Let's see where my other thing is. Here, I've got another one. This is a great thing. A little tiny precision screwdriver that has enough power to do a few things when it doesn't have enough power to do to like strip anything. It's just it's weak in that sense. It's great because once you loosen it, right, it will do most of the work for you, and it just doesn't have the torque to strip anything, including the screw head. Also, what's nice is it's got a light on it. Great tools. Vacuuming that little thing. I forget what this is called. This is called, it's called El Cheapo. Yeah, El Cheapo. Charges with a USB. The Works is not bad. I have another one. It's got a lot more balls to it. It will be capable of stripping things. But anyway, there you go. So you close the hood, make sure it doesn't catch on the tone arms as you go, and then you just go through the process and just close everything, and then that's it. Done. Tach O Disk replacement. Bang & Olufsen 8002 and 8000. Peace out.